And I went from having about 140K spread to barely making 40 to 50K as far as equity in one house, 30 in another, and I basically had to break even on the third.
What do farming and real estate have in common? They both require patience, grit, and a tolerance for things that don't go as planned. Neither one cares about your feelings. I'm Jen Way. This is Cows and Contracts.
Do it.
Jose, thank you so much for joining us here on Cows and Contracts.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We've known each other a while, and you're a Colorado investor, which is exciting because most of my network doesn't even know where Mountain Time is.
That's funny.
And you've brought your own special guest with us. So.
Yeah, I got an investor in training, my granddaughter, who just got up from her nap, and this is how I spend part of my day as I'm doing research or talking to agents, is making sure she's taken care of while her mom is making that money.
Hey, and I am like so thrilled that you surprised me with it. Because it's perfect. Because this entire podcast is about showing how imperfect we are, how we make things work, and also, look at you, able to build a life where you get to hang out with your granddaughter in the afternoons and be a part of her life. You're not just clocking in and out of a job.
There you go.
This is why we do it, right?
100% agree.
So, listen, let's tell everybody who you are and why they should care at all about what you're about to say to us.
I don't know if anyone should care, but I do have an opinion and experience, and that experience has taught me that I would prefer learning from somebody else's mistakes than making the same ones if I can possibly avoid them. So I started my education in real estate back in 2008, which I didn't even know was a bad year to learn until most recently. But I started actively investing in 2016 when I kind of like put my feet on the ground and like called Colorado home. And so I've done everything from wholesaling, fix and flip, short-term, mid-term rentals, arbitrage. I said the only thing that I haven't done in real estate is ground-up development. And I've looked at acquiring multifamily, businesses. So I've pretty much done it all. As you can see, I'm a grandfather. My first grandchild, married for 25 years, going on 26, and with 4 children. So everybody relies on me to, be the glue, be the rock, as everybody else is, living their lives. So I belong to Pace Morby's community. So I'm a Colorado leader in that community for Sub 2 and the Gator community, which is our private money lending community. And I kind of on the side coach or / counsel people as far as how to structure deals, how to comp deals, what else? How to find funding for deals, right? So I try to help people that the tools or resources I wish I had when I first started, I try to provide to people, for lack of better terms.
There are no better terms. You're doing the things that are the things you wish you had, right?
Exactly.
And I believe that the core of who we are as coaches, that if that's not in you, what are you doing?
Right.
I think you and I are both very, very, I want to say blessed, but I also know that it takes a lot of our own hard work. That real estate has really given us the ability to live the life we want. Right? The flexibility of it, the self, if you actually work hard, you're gonna make good money.
Right.
that drive in you. You and I share that spirit. Interestingly, I just learned we also share the 2008. That's exactly when I got into real estate too. And I didn't know, and I found out. I found out quickly though. It didn't take me a long time.
Yeah, I didn't know because I didn't know. I was, really green, and I had bought a mentorship to help me learn how to do real estate. And long story short, it was one of those that basically took my money but didn't teach me much. And
A lot of those.
so I didn't. And of course, it was during I was learning how to do foreclosures, nonetheless.
Of course.
And because again, I didn't know what changes had happened in the industry at that time. I didn't understand what I could have actually really, what's the word I'm going to capitalize on had I had a good mentor / coach to educate me on what the landscape looked like, and why that would have been a great time to invest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jose, you have a lot of experience and you've built a successful real estate business. So now I want you to tell us about something during your career where you were absolutely certain you were right. And then you found out you were wrong.
Yeah, well, most people like to always highlight their successes, but not their failures. So I'll tell you the story. The first time I decided to invest out of state. So I found a mentor, coach, that showed me how to identify markets to invest in, and then how to, quote unquote, build a team that can, do fix and flips or find me buy and hold type properties. So at the time, this was 2022. And, of course, I was toward the end of COVID. And let's see, I did all 50 states looking for a good market. And the only market that had like 3 weeks or more worth of inventory was Minnesota. So decided to buy fix and flip, or 2 fix and flips and a buy and hold property in Minnesota, and found myself what I thought was a general contractor to perform the required work. It was supposed to be a 12-week job that ended up being 9 months. And instead of being a general contractor, even though he was licensed by the state, he was more of a handyman. So, long story short, this guy was a veteran, so I thought he was, up and up, worked with integrity. I'm a veteran, so I was like, now I'm, supporting my brothers. So I was like, this guy's got it. And my wife was telling me there's something about this guy that I just don't trust. My mentor was saying, don't go with the first guy that you find. And I'm like, there's nobody else that I'm finding that is available right now to do this job. And I said, and he's a veteran. I said, a veteran wouldn't do me wrong. And like I said, 9 months later, I realized that the person wasn't what I needed. Basically fired them from the job. And then 18 months later, won in a court case. More of the story is because I trusted this person without not doing my due diligence on him of, looking at other projects and what he's done. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars between 3 projects.
Oof.
So, yeah, that's where I thought I was right, because I picked the right general contractor, and there were some red flags that were going off even after week 1, and I kept saying, nope, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. 10 weeks into the project, where I'm not just 2 weeks from being complete, I'm like, it's still going to happen, still going to happen. And then after two of my first projects were supposed to be completed, I was like, this guy's going to get it done. Let me add a third project on there. It's going to happen. He's going to, I'm going to clean house. And I was projected to make about 100 figures or 6 figures on the first two fix and flips because I bought it at such a discount. And like I said, the wrongness was I picked the wrong GC, lost money, market shifted, interest rates went up, and I went from having about 140K spread to barely making 40 to 50K as far as equity in one house, 30 in another, and I basically had to break even on the third.
It's man, it's not, unfortunately, an uncommon story.
Right.
For people to say they trusted the wrong contractor or the wrong property manager or the wrong realtor, or it's just, I find it very, very interesting that you were willing to go against what your wife said, though.
Well, my wife wasn't in real estate, number one, right? So I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Number two, so what I didn't share in that story was I had a hard money lender, and he was sending out an inspector at every draw. So I had somebody who was going out and literally supposed to be investigating or evaluating the work that was done to make sure it was done before a new draw came. I was confused when I was getting the inspector to say, oh yeah, work is going great, there's progress, I approve the next draw. I'm like, wait a minute, if the inspector says work is being done, then I'm expecting what I'm asking for to get done to be done. He's basically my boots on the ground. And that's after, I think he had 3 draws. I realized that work had not got accomplished according to the draw schedule.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Did you ever uncover why that happened?
According to the hard money lender, they said they don't like to stall projects. So as long as they can see that there's an improvement from the last time the inspector was out there, they consider that a win. So they just approve it. I'm like, but I'm asking you to pay for this, certain specific items. Why would you be willing to give me more money if those items weren't completed? Because now you are invested in an asset that you can't sell if you have to foreclose because the work hasn't been done.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's not our position. We just want to make sure that your project doesn't get stalled because we're holding out. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is you don't want to take precautions to make sure that you don't lose any more money than you have to on a property to ensure that my project doesn't stall? I said, okay, that's a really risky business plan, but I guess I'll accept the way you do business.
I mean, they're a hard money lender, so they get to do what they want, right? But yeah, that seems crazy to me. I don't know any lenders that are willing to give more money when the amount they've given hasn't been, like, the checklist is not done there. That doesn't,
Yeah.
seems crazy. So at the end of the day, though, I think you had enough reasons to take a little more time to try and find a different contractor. And the lesson here, guys, is listen to the people around you. All right? Make sure you do your due diligence. Don't just let your gut decide things for you, right?
Right.
And in sales specifically, you have to run your numbers. You have to know how many people call and how many conversations you're having and how many offers you're making and how many people are saying yes and then how many actually end up at the profit table. You have to track the numbers, okay?
Right.
Real estate will be successful for you if you maintain data, not drama. Data, not drama. It's all just business, guys. do some research, check into the referrals, look at the other projects, just do the work.
I grilled with my wife for about 3 or 4 months after that. After I had to tell her she was right. So, yeah. Listen to people that are trying to give you advice.
It's interesting that you said that, because one of my my mentors always says that if you're going to hire somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you make the last interview with your spouse.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he actually recommends it on purpose. And I think that that advice makes complete and total sense for like husbands who have wives.
Sure.
My husband's a Marine though,
There's nothing wrong with that.
and he's not really a people person, so I'm not sure. I guess at the end of the day, if they make it
Give him a box of crayons, he'll be fine.
This is true. This is true. So, okay. Thank you for sharing a failure, because nobody, excuse me, just getting over I had the flu last week. Nobody likes to admit that they're not always right, right? People don't want to believe that they're wrong. And I think it's, there's a lot of positive in that I'm sure that was all coming from like a hopeful place.
For sure.
Right? It wasn't laziness. It wasn't, knowing that you're doing the wrong thing. It was just, no, I believe in this guy. He's gonna do it, right? You gave him a lot more credit than he deserves. So,
well, on top of that is me and this, I'll put GC in quotes, we're trying to work on housing homeless vets, right?
wow.
So the whole point of the projects were to get them. So I initially bought these properties to fix and flip them, and then I decided to hold them because I realized the tax benefit of holding them. But I wanted to, give back to my brothers and help tackle homelessness in Minnesota with homeless vets. So me and this person were like reaching even up to the senators of the state to get support for some of our efforts, right? So I didn't really want to mess that up either. So I was out. My judgment was clouded because what my end goal was, and so yeah. Needless to say, I made the wrong decision, and
You did, but for the right reason.
it.
Yeah, bad decision, but for all the right reasons, right? And that's all I'm trying to say here, is that I don't want everybody to like be afraid to truck forward and trust people and have hope. I want you just to mitigate your risk. Guys, that's the story here. Mitigate your risk, go through the checklist, make sure you just do things the right way. What is something, and a lot of guests are sharing a personal and a business example, but what is something that you do consistently that just changes it all for you, right? For me, it's something like making sure that I do yoga in the morning.
So personally, I start my day with prayer. So the first hour of my day is focused on God. I do a rosary, I listen to a homily, I read the Bible. That's how I start my day personally before I even get started on real estate. And then as far as real estate concerned, there's two things I think I do consistently that have really helped me out. One is follow-up, right? I consider myself a busy person, but I always make sure that I have time for other people. So if they're calling me asking for some kind of advice or for some assistance, like if I'm on the phone right now, I would just tell them, hey, I'm on the line, I'll call you back, and I call them back. And maybe 12, 24 hours later, but I do respond back and say, hey, apologize, I couldn't talk to you at that time. What you got going on,
Yeah. I want to pause there real quick on the follow-up, because it is, I'll tell you, it's one of the things I did not expect to run into when I started coaching.
Yeah.
Incredible to me how many people aren't just following up, right? We'll talk to people once and then never attempt to call them again. And I don't know about you, but about 2/3 of the profit that goes into my bank account comes from the follow-up.
Yep.
Blows my mind, that one. That one's like one of those, like, I just want to reach through and shake investors and be like, just call them more than once. Like,
Yeah. Sure.
please go on.
Yeah. That's the one. And the other thing is, just follow my daily plan, right? Being consistent every day. So if, let's say my goal is to, I don't know, find 5 new clients that week, right? So I'm going to do the activities on a daily basis. Actually reward me with getting those 5 new clients or new investors to work with. So what I've been doing lately is, like I said, I've been doing this since 2016 actively. I have like, I don't know, 760 contacts in my digital business card, and I use Blink. So I'm now going through all 700 of them. Some of them I probably haven't talked to in, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years.
Oh.
And, you know, hey, are you still doing real estate? Hey, what are you doing now that you weren't doing back then? How can we collaborate? And I do that. I do about 10, maybe 10 to 20 a day, and trying to get through them all because there's so many, right? And like I said, go back to the follow-up. So I'll go through it all the way once, and then see which ones have responded, and the ones that haven't, follow up again. Say, hey, wasn't sure you got this. Sometimes things go to spam. Hopefully this one won't,
Yeah.
Or instead of emailing them, maybe I text them if I have their phone number and say, hey, just want to see if you have some time to jump on a phone call. Let me know. Just reach out to them 2 or 3 different ways, and if they don't respond, then I just remove them from my contact list, because obviously either they're not doing it anymore or they're not somebody that wants to do business with me, and there's no point in maintaining a contact if they're not willing to do business.
Yeah. So it's what I'm hearing you say is that it's personal and business, that it's actually the same thing. It's small, consistent actions, be it to a specific task, that you actually systemize the actions, right? So you want to achieve a goal. You know that means that you have to talk to X amount of people. So you have to attempt to talk to 10 times that number in order to actually get people on the phone. And so you work the system, and every single day you start your day the exact same way. Weirdly, one of the other guests that I had, when he told me what he does, the first thing he does every day, I was like, that's strange. Me too. Every single day of my life starts exactly the same way.
Yep.
I wake up, I feed the cats, I brew a pot of coffee, I start to feed the dogs. If it's Monday through Thursday, we're making sure that the teenager is actually up and, getting ready for school. Wrangle the 30 minutes that exist of farm chores right then and there for us.
Yeah.
And I sit down, I drink a cup of coffee, and I start looking at updates and my calendar, and I kind of start to mentally prepare, right? Every day, the exact same thing. So, you're not the only person who said that, by the way. So many people who are wildly successful say the exact same thing. They have a very consistent nature to their life. And I think that what a lot of people underestimate is the power of the little consistent actions. I like to explain that to people with the theory of shavings make piles. You remember the old school sawmill, right, with the single blade, and you run a big tree basically down there, and then a few shavings come off. And if you walked underneath that, you could probably pick up some shavings with your hand, and shavings gone.
Right.
At the end of the day, there are so many shavings that a tractor has to be involved, that manpower alone cannot deal with it, even though each individual piece, easy. The power of small, consistent actions lies in one decision, guys. One decision only. Ready. Ready is a decision, not a feeling. If you're sitting around waiting to feel ready, waiting for the right time, for that to just come over you, and you're going to time block follow-ups and you're going to do the boring part, if you're waiting for that, shut your business down. It's never coming. Don't waste any more money.
Yeah, I think the most profound word of advice that I've ever been given is take imperfect action. Right? Because even imperfect action is action. You can either learn from it or you actually succeed from it. But like you said, doing nothing and like waiting for the right time or the right scenario, or, oh, I don't know enough yet. If you keep on waiting for the right something to come to happen, you're going to be waiting and letting your goals or your dreams pass you by. You gotta take action. I have so many new investors that just by picking up a phone call and making a call to an agent, they didn't realize just how powerful that it was for them. Or just going door knocking on foreclosures. You hear that, oh, it takes you 100 doors to get one. I have one investor who's knocked on 4 doors and already has a potential deal. And I told him, I say, that's great. Don't think this is how it's always going to be. But,
Yeah.
Congratulations on, the success.
1 in 100 is the average. You don't know when one shows up.
Right.
And you can't be there to seize that if you don't show up. You just got to be there, guys. You got to be in the game. If you're trying to figure out what to do with your time, find some local investor meetups, start going to them, all right? Start calling agents, call for sale by owners, just work, okay? Obviously, as coaches, we value the educational side of this. We're not telling you to just like run into things blind, but don't just sit around and learn about it either. Learn and execute. Same exact time. Massive, imperfect action. That's it. Keep trucking forward, learn from your mistakes, and get yourself some coaches that are on your team and are going to help guide you through that process.
Absolutely.
Okay, tell the people a little bit about how they can support you on your journey and what it is that you're available to help with.
Well, as I mentioned when I first started, right now my focus is trying to help investors get into deals. So I focus on transactional funding. So you can go to joselensmoney.com. I help people with EMD, double close, or what we call stack method, or it's kind of like a seller carry. It's more of an advanced strategy. A lot of people are using it to get into single family, but it's mostly used in multifamily. I also help people. I'm a pretty good underwriter and closer, so I help people underwrite deals, structure deals, help them understand comping. People that are scared to make calls, I also will, get on a phone call with you and let's just role play to kind of build your strength up and tell you where you can tweak a little bit,
We take care of that real hard in this community as well.
Yes, I know. That's why I brought it up.
Every Wednesday. Yeah, you should come and join us for some of our role play calls.
Sounds good. I should.
Guys, I will include this information in the show notes along with the links that you need. If you're looking for somebody who is out here providing value, no matter whether or not you go to him and you actually pay him for his services, do yourself a favor. Get into the universe of my good friend Jose. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day for me.
Yeah, thanks. Bye, guys.
I'm Jen Way. I was going to study dolphins. Turns out real estate and cows are more profitable. See you next week.